Hello, I'm Coach Rachel, Yeager on the sports field. That's my last name. Been with Infinite since September of 2020. Time flies. And yeah, play a lot of sports, coach a lot of sports.
What sports do you play?
And I grew up playing soccer, basketball, golf. Started getting into ultimate a little bit after like college age. Some overuse injuries with soccer and stuff. So I play ultimate on a semi-pro women's team here in Austin. I'm also a president of and have been a board member of the league in the past as well, Premier Ultimate League. And I play a sport called spike ball, which is kind of newer and fun, and then also mess around with pickleball and a bunch of different sports. I'll play anything at this point. As long as I can, keep it going.
So what are some experiences you've had that you found have been specific to being a female in sports? Things that are positive and negative, if you have them.
Sure. So there's, in the pro frisbee stuff that we kind of started doing, there's been a men's league called the AUDL for about 9 or 10 years now, I think. So there was just never really an opportunity for a lot of the women identifying players to be able to play in that aspect of pro. Some advantages to playing pro are a little less harmful on your body, because if you play club ultimate, you're spending a lot of money, and then also playing in a lot of games because they try to jam a bunch of games into one weekend because you paid to fly to a tournament, so you want to play frisbee and get your money's worth, but then you end up running a marathon while you're playing frisbee and sprinting down, chasing people on defense. It's a sprinting sport, so it's a lot to be running in the upwards of 15 to 20 plus miles a weekend if you play club ultimate. So the pro scene is just like one game, and you know, like any other pro league, you wouldn't have more than one game a day, or, you know, sometimes if for the tournaments at the end, you might come up with some more. But anyway, we were excited to be able to start a women's league in the U.S., and also we have a team from Colombia, so a little international love too. But yeah, starting it was pretty hard. You know, there's like not a lot of money in new sports anyway, but there's definitely not a lot of money in any women's sports these days, except for now they're finally like getting sponsorships and figuring it out that if you know, you don't just make money by having it, but if you put in money for sponsorships and to get ads and stuff, that you get money in return a lot of times. So like investing is a thing that works. So finally getting some investments and stuff in the women's sports scene. And there, you know, there were times of ugliness and battles of like, you know, how many men's leagues are we gonna have, or how many men's teams, and, you know, just some, not drama, but some tough times there figuring all that out. And then yeah, in other aspects like spike ball, I think last year I played in the first like women's tournament in Texas. Sport's been around for quite a while. To not have had a women's scene, it's just like a little bit harder to keep the women involved. Like from a younger age, it's more likely that girls quit sports early, you know, around 12 to 14. There's a very high percentage of girls that quit just with the pressures and the judgments or bullying, or there's much more of a feeling of like, I'm not good enough to play. But for boys, it's just like, everyone plays, it's a sport, we play sports. But for girls, there can be like this air of, if you're not good enough, like you should just stop playing. Like it's not for fun. It's like you should be number one, or there's no other options. So keeping girls involved, and then you know, also the struggle as we get older. For, you know, some people have kids and things like that. Will get a lot more women out of sports. But cool to see when they can come back in and they're like stronger than they were before. Like they get some superpowers and stuff, which is cool. but can just make it hard numbers wise to just have enough women to make teams happen sometimes, and we're still seeing that in a big place like Texas. So struggling, those are some struggles, and I think that's all I got.
Cool. What do you think the significance of having females in sports and having those teams can do for young girls or society or things like that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could talk a long time about that for sure. There's a lot of great things going into it. A lot of things we get excited to talk about in our frisbee stuff is just like, if you can see it, you can be it. It's like a common hashtag that's utilized on social medias, and I mean, it's super true. Like, I started playing soccer because of like the '99 World Cup, which is the women's World Cup here. It was in the U.S. and they like won, which hopefully everyone knows that. Maybe you don't, and that's okay. But so yeah, I was a little bit late to start sports. '99, I was 11, and now kids these days are starting at like 4, 5, 6 years old. And I had always like wanted to try stuff and do stuff, but like the day I like remember watching it still and watching the penalty kicks and being like, oh, like I'm gonna play soccer, and I did, and I'm still coaching and in the gym now, doing pro ultimate. Now I'm a PE coach and after school sports teacher, so it's just obviously my life is surrounded by sports and fitness, which I can probably credit to the Mia Hams and the Brandy Chastains and stuff. So being able to see something, and then and also being a female in the sports world and in the coaching world, it's good for not just girls to see it, but for boys to see that it's just a normal thing. So girls, it's exciting, and they're like, I can be that, and that's amazing. But then 50% of our population is also the other half being like, you can't do that. So, them seeing it too and being like, oh, like anyone can do anything basically. So, definitely an important aspect of it too that we are starting to think about more these days, and not just doing like girls clinics because you want it to be fun and like have girls around, but then if you have the other side as well, then there's just more social exceptions, I think, coming from that. But yeah, makes you strong. A lot of leaders and stuff played sports. CEOs, presidents of companies and stuff often have a little bit of a background of like competition and growth and all that stuff that sports can give you. So lots of aspects besides, so many parents are like, well, they're not going to be pro, so it doesn't matter what they do. But it's definitely not about that, because a very small percentage are going to go far in the pro aspect, but there's lots of qualities that are coming from it, and friendships and lifelong things. So
cool. Who are some of your role models in the athletics realm?
In what?
In the athletics.
In the athletics realm. Yes. Well, as mentioned, the 99ers, as they're called, definitely will always be Mia Hamm, OG, soccer star. But I'm from Chapel Hill, and she went to school at UNC Chapel Hill, so I feel like, got that respect. But there's a lot of players. I watch a lot of women's sports and try to just not be like I only watch, but WNBA, NWSL, the Surf League, which our new friend is also excited about, which is cool because surfing was one of the first places to go equal pay, so that they're like known as a pretty cool thing in the sports world. But Tobin Heath is one of my favorite soccer players. She is also, I was born in New Jersey, she was born in New Jersey, she went to school in Chapel Hill, I went to school in Chapel Hill, so I enjoy her. She's got confidence. A lot of people compare her to men with her dribbling skills, so it's just kind of like the first person to be like kind of cheeky with their moves, and get into a lot of footwork that people were very impressed with. And then she's started a company and gotten involved in like the equality aspects of LGBTQ rights and equal pay, and just doing a lot for little girls and all the kiddos and stuff too. So she's probably my number one pick, but there's a lot of them out there.
What sports would you like to see more women in?
Ooh, that's a good question I haven't really had. I was like, soccer was pretty good. Like, they were kicking butt in that one. That's like the one that people can give us in America. So I'll take that. You know, always gonna have more. I'd say basketball is one that it's like, you know, we have the WNBA and it's been around for 25 years and stuff, but like as an adult now, like there's nowhere that I've ever been able to find that's like just women playing basketball, like pickup style or in a league. Like I can go find a soccer league easy, but basketball tends to be one that like it's super fun to watch college women's basketball and WNBA stuff, like definitely exciting, but as far as a pickup level around, it's kind of that vibe of you're either you played in college or you're not doing anything, so you're not good enough. And then so basketball a little bit, but it's still a popular sport. Skating is one that's getting like pretty popular. I've picked up like longboarding a little bit and want to get into longboard dancing, but it's really tough. But there's a pretty good push, like equity push for in the skate world. Some like X Games boycotts and stuff that's gone on, and yeah, lots of really young kids that are really good at skateboarding that are like coming up and pushing that vibe of like you don't have to be doing kickflips and tricks, like you can just be on the board and be going down the ramps, and that's so cool. So more socially acceptable to just like move your body, get out there, have fun, no matter what you are. So that's a good one that's coming up in the scene, I guess.